Hello, my name is Micah, and this is my topic choice research process presentation video for Essay 3. So I first arrived at my subject and my argument because I'm interested in environmental science, and I wanted something to do with our state since I felt like it directly impacted us and our future generations. And my first thought was to do an environmental concern we have here in California, such as wildfires, climate change, and pollution. But I feel like that wasn't interesting enough to the viewer or me because it's already talked about a lot in the media, and I feel like everyone's already heard all the debates about them. And so I decided to incorporate an animal, and I started by making a list of different species that have an environmental impact on the state, and I chose the salmon. And so I started thinking of ways to incorporate this fish into environmental concerns we have here in California. And then I realized the importance the salmon has because it's a huge food source for different species of plants and animals, and that also directly affects our economy. And so I chose this subject within my major area of study because its large environmental impact on waterways and species. And then also, salmon is a keystone species in the environment, which means different animals and plants rely on it for food, shelter, etc., and they would die without it. It also reflects about what I like about environmental science, which is the conservation of plants and animals. And then the actual argument slash central viewpoint I ended up choosing was why it is important to conserve the salmon population in California. My research process started out by thinking of a subject. You can't really get any further into the essay without actually having a subject, obviously. And so I started researching different environmental concerns that were in California. But then, yeah, I decided on incorporating an animal, so then I started researching environmental concerns that were connected to the salmon. And so I started finding reliable sources on the internet. I didn't actually use the Sierra College library database that much. I just found it very hard to find specific information I needed and wanted. And so yeah, I started using Google a lot. I found different scholarly articles, magazines, stuff like that. And then I started finding supportive details in those sources, different quotes, data points. And then I started listing out those points on a document so it was easier to go back and look at them too. And also around this time, I started forming my uh, works cited page. I figured it would be easier to do it in the beginning than at the end and having to go back and look up all of these different websites again. Then lastly, I started writing down quotes and facts from these articles and such to actually use in my essay. And then most of the resources I use were articles, magazines, and government funded websites such as the .orgs. I like how my essay turned out overall. I felt that it was informative to the reader. I'm hoping that it also taught the reader a few things. And then most importantly, I hope that it influenced the reader to care about the California and all they do for our environment and species. One thing I would have changed maybe was the specific elements of wording that I chose. One thing I notice sometimes is hard to avoid is sounding repetitive, such as using certain word phrases or wordplay. I know I, for one, use the phrase such as a lot in my work, and I combated this by seeing a tutor in the tutoring center. Um, they give you tips on flow and how to make my sentences sound better overall. They also help find grammatical mistakes and other editing errors you may have made along the way. And another method that I did was taking time out of the day to write. I know that I get the urge to write whole essays in a day, unfortunately. It's not really so much procrastination, it's more of just trying to rush and get everything done. And this time I limited myself to a certain amount of time per day for writing. But I still did plenty of research, not including in that time. And I think this helped with grammatical mistakes as well and flow, so I'm hoping I did better. Also, overall, I put a lot more time and dedication into this essay. And so that concludes my topic choice and research process presentation video. Thank you for watching.